Yo, what up, YouTube? So, my apologies. It's been a couple months. I didn't do a prediction video on Donaire Rigondeaux. Didn't do one on Austin Trout and Canelo Alvarez. But really haven't had any time to get any videos done whatsoever, even on the road. But I have gotten to see the fights. And let me just say this, man. I'm 0-2 on the big fights this year. I'll keep it 100, man. I had Donaire beating Rigondeaux, and that didn't happen. And props to Rigondeaux. He put on a master performance, regardless of what some people have been saying about Rigondeaux. And then with Austin Trout and Canelo, which I'm here to talk about today, wow, man. I think I personally picked Austin Trout to win this fight for several reasons. And leading into the fight, to me, this was going to show how good Canelo really is, because we hadn't really seen him against anybody that we can say, yeah, that's a solid win, and that's a tough win in his division. Austin Trout really was the #1 guy in the division. I mean, if you look at the landscape, besides Canelo, and he had just come off a win against Miguel Cotto in Madison Square Garden, and Canelo in previous fights showed vulnerabilities on the defensive side. So when you put 2 and 2 together, adding the fact that Austin Trout is a southpaw, it spelled a bit of doom for Canelo. I mean, if we're thinking about how he's going to perform against Austin Trout in relation to how he's performed against some of these other guys. But, yo, look, Canelo went in there with a completely different game plan than what I first imagined he would. He improved his head movement. He improved a bit of the footwork. I think more of it was just being in the right position to throw his shots against a rangier fighter. He kept the distance pretty well when the fight was in the middle of the ring. And even when he got on the ropes, maybe this is Trout's fault, he really wasn't getting hit with any solid shots. I mean, it looked when Trout was throwing those flickering jabs and landing what you would think would be these punches. A lot of them were like grazing off, and he was dodging a lot of them. I think Trout's best round was the 5th round, because I think in the 5th round he was hitting Canelo with a couple body shots, and not really looping body shots, but shots like right down the middle. And you kind of see at a point where Canelo stops throwing. Now, Canelo is a spot fighter. Don't get it twisted. I mean, he's not a guy that is a very active fighter. Fighters like Floyd Mayweather and Miguel Cotto, those guys, they're spot fighters. They don't put it their all in every single round. And Trout was getting really busy, and I think that gassed up Canelo in a way. And Trout was able to get off shots and corner Canelo up until the end of the 5th round. Then the 6th round begins, and then hits him with a straight right hand down the pipe, and has Trout doing the Harlem Shake, the OG Harlem Shake. So from that point on, it was really very brave on Austin Trout's part to keep pushing the fight. And Canelo, in some points, it looked like he took rounds off. And I think from a fan's point of view, looking at the fight, some people would give those rounds to Austin Trout. But I think what happened in this fight, and I had Canelo judging this fight, I had Canelo winning 115-112. And I think what, in cases where, in a case of Austin Trout, where he was like flickering the jab, but he wasn't really following up much, even though he looked like the busier fighter. But from the word around press row and people that were about like 20, 30 rows behind, they were hearing like thudding blows every time Canelo landed. And then obviously, he was able to drop Austin Trout. And even throughout the fight, I mean, we heard it on TV, but from people that I've actually talked to that went to the fight, like they were like sounding like bombs. Not to be facetious or anything, but I mean, he hits hard, man. And I think when there's rounds where they can be swing rounds and one guy's not landing as much, but is maybe more active, but this guy maybe isn't as active, but lands the harder, menacing, more noticeable shots, a lot of times this guy's going to get the round. And a fight that I would mirror that to in a way is Cotto versus Mosley, where Mosley was getting busy, but you noticed that Cotto's shots were a little more effective and they stood out more. You know, so when they're close rounds like that, I mean, a lot, depending on what the judging is, you know, if I'm a judge, I'm really going towards the guy that was landing the harder shots because, you know, they were more noticeable for me to, like, really look at that fighter as the guy who won the round more than the guy that's throwing a lot but missing. So I think a good part of that told the story of this fight, even though the 118-109 scorecard was fucking ridiculous. I think there has to be some type of sanctioning body. If there isn't, I mean, maybe somebody could school me on this, that can really investigate the judging. Because granted, look, we understand boxing has got a lot of middlemen and a lot of people behind the curtains, but at the same time, man, 118-109 is fucking atrocious. I mean, that's just clearly screaming like, yeah, I was just paid to do that, you know. So it's pretty clear now that Canelo Alvarez is, I won't say has made it on the map, but he's really made a statement with this fight in beating a guy like Austin Trout. So the clear question has automatically become, does he get a fight with Floyd Mayweather? Well, you know, Floyd Mayweather's got a fight still against Robert Guerrero, and that is happening May 4th. We have to see how Floyd looks against Robert Guerrero, who I think is going to be a good fight, probably better than most are expecting. But let me just say this, and this isn't any type of like prediction or anything like that, but let me just say this, okay? Canelo Alvarez came in at 171 pounds, okay? And this wasn't 171 pounds of a plodding, slow punching, you know, non-moving fighter. I mean, this was a guy that's 22, going to be 23 years old, in his prime, very fast for his size, and has very good power. Is he perfect? No. But he's improving in every fight. So, taking it into the fact that Floyd Mayweather isn't really a junior middleweight. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, he fought an old Oscar De La Hoya and another fighter, Miguel Cotto, who probably doesn't belong at junior middleweight anyway. This is not a safe fight for Floyd Mayweather. I mean, I'm just saying this at least right now, but we really have to look at things in a realistic sense as far as when you measure both guys up. But we need to see how Floyd looks against Robert Guerrero. I'm leaning towards him beating Robert Guerrero. I mean, much more than anything, but anything's possible. But if he does get past Robert Guerrero, I'll just say this out front that I don't think that Canelo and Mayweather will be set up in September. I think Canelo's going to go on and fight Miguel Cotto. It's a money fight, Puerto Rico versus Mexico again. And I don't think Cotto gets past that fight. And, you know, maybe it's a May 3rd showdown, but, you know, I'm saying this now and it's April 23rd. So, you know, let's see what happens May 4th, because if Floyd does win that fight, I think we have a new mega fight, super fight, whatever you want to call it, because I think the whole Pacquiao-Mayweather fight is over and done with. If Mayweather does win this fight, we have a year to build a mega fight. So let me know what you think of the fight. I had Canelo winning 115-112, and I thought he looked really, really good and improved in a lot of different aspects. So let me know who you want to see him fight next, if not Mayweather, because I don't think it's going to be Mayweather. Maybe a rematch with Austin Trout. Don't think it's going to happen, but we'll see what happens. So stay tuned, subscribe, hit up the links, and I'll be back soon. Peace.